As long as
I'll be recorded.
And
Zip
Jessica
Zap,
left.
you should probably mute.
it's probably they're on mobile.
Yeah, she's probably having trouble. She's on mobile. See if she can
But
get
Bunk,
it again.
but I do think Bunk, if she does agree to record, you should, because that would be great content.
Yep, you got it, buddy.
Okay, here's what you do. Why don't you just ask her like to go on stream?
Because I just had
We
her on stream a
can.
little bit ago, and everyone really didn't like her.
And they could just record.
I kind of feel bad
sometimes.
because the thing is, if I have
Sometimes
somebody on
everyone
chat, if I
wants
have
to
somebody
watch.
on, and like I kind of like them. I think Jessica's a nice person. I'm sure interpersonally. I don't know them interpersonally, but every single time they enter into any conversation, they're the dumbest person there. Somehow, I could be arguing with a Nazi, and they'd be like, "Maybe we kill half the Jews." What's up?
sorry.
How you doing?
Howdy.
No.
No one's
God,
live, nothing like that.
Oh, I don't
But
care.
I do.
You don't
All
care?
right, so what I'm hearing
hold
is,
on. Yeah.
Good one, Izzy.
Because Izzy recording?
Izzy, do
I don't care.
You want this recorded?
You know, care if Izzy records? Okay, sweet.
All right.
I don't care.
Right.
More content
Fantastic.
with my name in it. Just and if you post it, just put my @ in it and mention me so that people can go to my scuffed dead page.
So
right,
true,
sweet.
Jessica.
So,
right.
what was your argument
Jessica.
with Aiden Projects on Twitter? Or
What's what?
Yeah, what's your argument with Aiden Projects and Diorio on Twitter? And so you went back and forth.
Oh well. So
words.
I quote tweeted Nick agreeing with his take that mental illness doesn't give you an excuse to do shit. And I was like, yeah, even in the courts, you kill somebody over a manic episode, you're still gonna be locked up. It's just in a different fucking room. And Nick's like, schizo Jessica say murder okay because mental illness. Like what the fuck? How? Where? Where? I don't understand these people's fucking reading comprehension. How was it's not okay. Even in the courts, you still get locked up. It's just in a different type of room. How the fuck does that equate murder okay? I don't understand. So that's my issue with Nick. My issue with Aiden was he.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I think it's really easy actually to know why Diorio responded the way they did. If it's okay, can I clarify?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you quote tweet somebody, and this is the original tweet from Diorio. I like how nobody online understands the mental illness, but the knowledge is equally distributed. But the knowledge is like equally distributed. We got dudes saying that you can cure depression with 3 sips of beer, and women saying that you are fully responsible for every single thing you do / say when you're having a manic episode. So the thing is, the point of Diorio's tweet is that you're not necessarily responsible for everything that you do / say during a manic episode. That was Diorio's tweet. Now, you quote tweeted Diorio, you said this: people are responsible for their actions. If you want to murder someone during a manic episode, you're still getting locked up. The room will just be different. Now, that seems to go in contrast to what Diorio was saying, that there are people on the internet with completely fucking weird views about mental health. Some people who give it too little consideration, some people give it too much consideration, right? So clear. What the? Did she just fucking leave?
Yeah, she needs to be.
Yeah.
Back.
Okay.
All right, start over.
Welcome back, Pizzle.
Oh boy.
Sorry, start over. Have fun.
So the original tweet says
you were reading
this.
his quote.
I like how nobody understands mental illness, but the knowledge is like equally distributed. We got dudes saying that you can cure depression with just 3 sips of beer, and women saying that you're fully responsible for everything you say / do when you are having a manic episode. Saying that he disagrees with both of these statements. That 3 sips of beer can cure depression. That you are not fully responsible for every single thing that you do during a manic episode. Right? You quote tweeted them by saying people are responsible for their actions. If you want to murder somebody during a manic episode, you're still getting locked up, and the room will just be different. Right? That conflicts with Diorio's thing. It seems, or appears to, right? The idea that you are responsible for everything during a manic episode.
Wait, so you're saying that Diorio's saying that you're not responsible during a manic episode?
Not for everything, no. I think everybody agrees that you're not responsible for everything during a manic episode.
So to me, it reads, I like how nobody online understands mental illness, but the knowledge is equally distributed. We got dudes saying you can cure depression with 3 sips of beer, which we all know you can't. And women saying you are fully responsible for every single thing you do or say when you're having a manic episode. So in the context of, we know he's talking about Gabby Hanna, right? And how people are like, oh, we shouldn't hold Gabby Hanna responsible because she's having a manic episode, right? Can we all agree that that's what he's fucking referring to, the Gabby Hanna shit?
No, that's not necessarily what he's referring to, right? And also, the
But
tweet
his
says that it's
previous
equally
tweets before
distributed.
that-
Well, the tweet says that it's all equally distributed. So these people all equally have knowledge of mental illness, right? But these are equally distributed what do you call it? Equally distributed delusions, right? So everybody in this tweet, as he says in the sentence beforehand, you can't miss it, right? Like how nobody online understands mental illness. He then cites 2 things that people say online about mental illness. Presumably, he thinks both of these are untrue, right?
Wait, so if you're saying that he thinks that women aren't fully responsible for every single
Not
thing
just
you do or say?
nobody. You're not fully responsible for everything you do / stay under like a psychotic episode. No,
So you're saying he agrees with that?
that he doesn't agree that there is no or that you're not responsible for anything, right? But
No,
wait,
he's
hold
saying
on. Sorry, give
in
me
his
sorry,
tweet.
give me 1 second.
Don't
Let
go
me.
nuanced in this tweet.
Well, yeah. So in this tweet, right? There are people saying that you are
Mhm.
fully responsible for every single thing you do / say under a manic episode, right? That's the thing that he's referring to. Not that people are saying we shouldn't hold Gabby Hanna to account, that we should, right? That's what this is referring to. That's what the women saying people are fully responsible for every single thing you do / say under a manic episode refers to. It's
That we
just
should
really
hold
weird.
Gabby
You're
Hanna
criticizing other people's reading comprehension when it's really easy to read this tweet. The first part of the tweet says he doesn't agree with the things that people online say about mental illness. And he cites 2 different statements about things that people say online about mental illness. Presumably he disagrees with them, or else it would be a contradicting statement.
Okay. All right. So when I say people are responsible for their actions, okay, because people
are
are
not fully responsible for their actions under the legal system. No, they're not. If you're in a manic episode, you are not fully responsible for your actions. Or specifically a manic episode where you can't discern between right and wrong or the things that you are doing. That's what we call not
Okay.
guilty by reason of insanity. You are institutionalized
Okay.
so that you don't harm other people, but it's not
Yes.
saying that you are responsible for the action. Those are 2 different statements, right?
So then how come his quote, his comment was, you've been in a constant state of psychosis for the last 4 years. So I'm not surprised your takeaway from my tweet was murder is actually okay if you're mentally ill.
Yeah, because you're presumably
How does
disagreeing
that not
with him.
contradict?
Because you're disagreeing
So-
with him and you used murder as your citation, saying, hey, we lock people up for murder, even if they are mentally ill when they do it,
so
right?
you're saying that Nick believes that if
I'm
you
not
murder
saying that Nick
someone
believes
during
this.
you're mentally ill. So that's what I'm saying. You're like, oh, I'm just saying, like, here's the reading comprehension. Okay, so here's 2
This isn't
things
complicated
that
to
don't
any-
equal things. Here's one tweet that you say that Nick's saying you're fully responsible. Like, how
I
is
didn't
he
say that
saying,
you were fully responsible. I didn't say that you were fully irresponsible, right?
okay,
I said
you're
there are
saying
people
that
who think
Nick,
you are
we're
fully
talking about Nick.
responsible. Yeah,
We're
I've
talking about
talked with
Nick.
Nick about
Let's
these
bring it
tweets,
in.
right? But also,
Okay,
it's really
let's
easy
bring
when
it
you
in.
read the tweets either. I don't know why you told me to bring it in as though I'm
So
being really
'cause
aggressive
we're
with
talking
you. I'm
about the
talking in a very
tweet,
normal tone.
but we're talking about
I am
the
talking
tweet.
about
You're
the tweet.
trying to
I'm
be
reading
like,
the tweet. The tweet
so
reads
then what
pretty
is
easily.
I'm surprised your takeaway from my tweet was murder is
Because
actually
you were
okay if you're mentally
disagreeing with
ill.
him. You're disagreeing with him, and the citation that you used to disagree with him with was that if you murder someone during a manic episode, you're still getting locked up.
Okay, so what is
So
what
presumably
about
that's
this?
disagreeing with his statement, right?
So, well, no, because he said I'm not surprised your takeaway from my tweet was murder is okay. So he's thinking my tweet is saying if you're in a manic episode and you murder someone, it's okay.
Well, no, he's saying that your takeaway from his tweet. He's not saying that's what your tweet's saying, right? You're saying that your tweet indicates that that's your takeaway from his tweet. That's why he
Is
says
that
my
right?
tweet, not your tweet.
Oh my god. Okay, you're right. I'm wrong.
Gotcha. All right, so wait.
But still, I still have an issue with it. Because I didn't say that it was okay. And I'm just saying, I don't think that it's okay. I don't
Well,
think
you didn't say
if
that it
you
was
murder someone
okay.
in a manic state. I don't think. I
No
think
one
you
said
are
that you think it's
responsible for your
okay.
actions.
Nobody
I'm
said
saying
so.
that you
So
have-
first of all, I
I don't
disagree with that. But
understand
nobody
why.
said that you think that it's okay to murder somebody in a manic state. Nobody said that. I don't know who you think said that.
Okay.
Where did you
I don't
find
know.
that in any of these tweets, Jessica?
Okay. Well, then there's. Hold on. Let me go to. Let
Yeah,
me find
go for it.
Eden's. The fact that you're a grown woman is incredible. You're so fucking dumb that you should be banned for producing offspring. If you were deemed legally insane at the time of your crime by a court, you are not accountable for the crime committed. Common knowledge. Where in my tweet did it say that you're not?
You said that you are accountable. That's what that. And then what do you call it? Aiden's disagreeing with you. Is saying that you are not guilty by reason of insanity, and you're saying that you were still locked up as though you were presumed to be just as guilty. However, you're going to a different institution, right? Those are two different statements.
I'm not saying that you're locked
Nobody's
up
saying-
as presumed just as guilty. I'm saying that when you plead insanity,
You say
you
they're
still do get
responsible for their
locked up.
actions.
It's just a different room.
You're saying people
Yeah,
are responsible for their actions. What do you think guilty means? What does guilty mean, Jessica? When we say somebody's guilty of something, what do you think that means?
That's my own opinion outside of the
Well, it's-
law.
Well, your opinion.
So
Well, your opinion is
How does-
about the
that's what
law.
I-
It's not outside of the law. It's about the law.
oh
You
my God.
referenced the law. What do
No.
you mean? You said
Holy
locked up. That's about the law.
people are responsible for their actions. Full stop. If you want to murder someone during your manic episode, you're still going to get locked up. The room will just be different. So why would you get locked up in a manic episode if you murdered someone? Why?
Because
Why aren't you just let
you're
free?
a,
Because
you're
not
a harm to
responsible?
yourself and others until you're cured,
Okay.
right?
So how are you?
You
a
don't have.
harm
We
to
don't only
yourself or
lock people up.
others?
We don't only lock people up
What
whenever
does
they're
it
guilty.
mean when you're a harm to
You are
yourself
You have
or
a
others?
high likelihood of committing a crime, even if you don't intend to. That's why we lock people up. We don't lock people up because they're guilty, right? That's not what we lock people up, Jessica. We lock people
We
up even
lock
if they're
them
not
up
guilty
because-
legally, right? We do it with
So
civil
you're saying if
institutions. You
someone
said this in
kills
your tweet.
someone- Oh, yes. If you kill someone during a manic state, are you saying that you're not like you didn't kill the person? Of course you're responsible. It was your fucking hands.
I'm not saying you didn't kill the person, right? You didn't kill, like, your body didn't kill the person, and you made the decision to kill the person are two different things, right? People make decisions to do some actions. They don't make conscious decisions to do other actions. Okay, Jessica, let me give you a hypothetical, like, it's instance, okay? Let's say I'm sleepwalking. I grab a gun, I kill somebody. Did I choose to make the action of killing that person? Would you say I'm morally
you're
responsible in the
sleepwalking?
same way
Yes.
that I'm morally responsible for intentionally killing somebody?
I think that you are morally responsible for killing someone regardless
In the
of
same
whether or
way,
not you were
you think-
sleepwalking.
You think that there's no important moral distinction to be made?
There's
between-
nuance. There's nuance to be
Well,
made, but you're still
That's the
responsible for
nuance.
your
The
actions.
nuance there is the guilt in not guilty, right? That's the nuance we're talking about. If somebody sleepwalks and kills somebody, they didn't make a conscious effort to kill that person. Once you fix that person sleepwalking, they're, for all intents and purposes, innocent, right? But if somebody intentionally goes out to kill somebody, that's a different problem. There's a different responsibility there. Every single other person can make this distinction. It's so obvious to people.
I know, but the responsibility is still there.
What do you mean the responsibility is still there?
Because you just said it. You said if I go out and I kill someone while I'm sleepwalking, yes, I did it, but it's a different type
The
of responsibility.
body did it. I didn't make the action to do it, and therefore I'm not guilty. I'm not culpable of choosing to make that action, right?
Are you saying so that if someone's blackout drunk
That's the
and
reason-
they cheated on you, that they're not responsible for cheating on you?
What? Who said that?
That's the same. I'm saying it. I'm using
Nobody
another
said-
hypothetical. If someone
Nobody
gets
said
blackout
that.
drunk, I'm using another hypothetical. Tell me.
If somebody's
someone is
blackout drunk,
and they cheat on you, are they not responsible for their actions?
Are they not responsible for their actions? Well, it depends on the action,
And
right?
cheating on
So,
you.
for example,
Did
if
they
somebody is
cheat- they cheated on
completely
you, that's the
sober,
action.
okay, give me 1 second. There's a lot more to go over in this hypothetical, right? We're going to go through it step by step. So there are a couple of things that are be taken into consideration whenever somebody is under intoxication, right? Did they know what they were doing or not? Right? That would be a really simple thing to say, right?
I said blackout drunk. So
Blackout
no, they
drunk.
don't know what they're doing.
So they have no idea. I don't think that's how being blackout drunk works, Jessica. But you know, for the sake of it, because I'm not as experienced in alcohol. Okay. I'm not experienced in this.
Dealing with people and alcoholics who get
Okay.
blackout drunk.
Okay.
Don't
Okay. Let's
remember
actually.
anything.
Okay. If that's how it works, let's bring it to something
There's
that's really, really
plenty
easy.
of rape
Oh my
victims
God!
out
Can
there
you let
who
me get it
don't
out there?
remember Yeah, go ahead.
Can you let me get just let
Yeah.
me talk, okay?
Mhm.
So hold on. So if somebody's like, let's say somebody's like in their sleep, all right, they accidentally like, sleep with somebody, okay? They had no conscious ability to choose whether to do that or not. No ability whatsoever. Do we still blame them when we say, hey, you cheated on somebody?
If they sleep with someone when they don't know about it, fuck yeah, I do.
They don't know. They literally had no option to do otherwise. This happened in their sleep,
They
Jessica.
had an option
To not sleep?
to not sleep.
Yeah, if they're
I don't understand how
sleepwalking?
that is even a possibility to even consider someone sleepwalking and sleepwalking.
It's a
into somebody
hypothetical,
else's
dog.
vagina.
I don't know. Well, it's a hypothetical.
Well,
People do all sorts
you
of
should
weird
at
shit in their
least
sleep.
stick to some type of
It's really easy. No,
possibility with your
nobody
hypothetical.
else misunderstands the hypothetical in the room, Jessica. Everybody else understands the hypothetical. It's an intuition pump.
Nobody sleepwalks and has sex with someone. So if you're
People
gonna do a
sleepwalk and
hypothetical,
kill
at least
people. People sleepwalk and kill people. People
who's
sleepwalk.
and killed somebody.
Here's
something.
actually a case. There was a case with a detective at one point where they ended up sleepwalking and killing somebody with a revolver. I think it's incredibly well known. I can actually look it up if you really want to. This 100% has happened, and you also didn't object to it whenever I brought it up the first time. So I don't know why you're objecting to it now. That you have to actually answer for your points.
Because you're saying, oh, that you can sleepwalk and have sex with somebody.
Yes, you totally can. That's not physically impossible, Jessica.
Do you think that the person that you're having sex with wouldn't do something to wake you up? There's a difference between sleepwalking and
it doesn't
shooting
matter.
someone.
It's a
Sometimes
fucking
you can shoot
hypothetical,
someone in
dog.
the back.
Let's say the person was tied down and like they're gagged. Okay, you're not even actually
Who
working with the
tied them down
hypothetical.
and
You're trying.
gagged them? Who tied them?
I don't know.
I'm not
So
working
some
with
random
that
third
specific
actor.
hypothetical.
I know you're
I
not going to work
refuse
with the
to work with
hypothetical because
that-
you can't
that
have a
one.
consistent
I will
argument if you
work
work with
with-
that hypothetical, Jessica, because your
No.
position is shit.
No, because you can't.
You
That's
can't-
a dumb
you-
hypothetical, and
you
you
can't-
win the argument.
If the
with a
hypothetical was
hypothetical that
easy,
won't
if the
happen.
hypothetical is easy to
There's
answer,
no way
what's the
that
point of
someone can rape
Jessica?
someone.
Hypotheticals aren't actually happening. When somebody brings up the trolley problem, you're not saying there's an actual trolley.
No,
That's the
there's
point of a hypothetical,
hypotheticals-
Jessica.
Hypotheticals still live in reality.
No, they
do they
don't.
not?
That's the point of a
What? Oh,
hypothetical.
okay.
That it's an
So-
analogy.
So we could just go ahead and start talking about unicorns and rainbows because
If
it's
you
a
want-
hypothetical.
Yes, if your hypothetical, yes, that's what a hypothetical is, Jessica.
No,
Jessica,
there's no
whenever
way to have a valid debate with an impossibility.
no, the point of hypotheticals is they're not impossible. It's not logically impossible for this to happen, Jessica.
It
That's
is
just
absolutely logically impossible for
what does it
someone
mean for something to be
sleepwalk
logically
and rape
impossible?
somebody.
What does it mean for something to be logically impossible, Jessica? What does that mean?
There's no way that someone can sleepwalk and
Are you
rape
telling?
somebody.
Are you telling? So whenever something's logically impossible, it means that there's a contradiction in the statement, right? Which leads to the principle of explosion, which grants all statements, both positive and negative, as true, right? There is no logical contradiction in the idea of somebody unconsciously sleeping with somebody. There's no logical contradiction there.
No, there's not. There's no, but there is.
You're so- yeah, you're so right.
contradiction
No, there
if someone's
isn't.
Sleepwalking. I'm talking about.
That's
drunk.
unconscious. That's what being unconscious
So, like-
means. Yes,
Okay,
that's
let me ask you this.
unconscious. You
If
can
someone-
unconsciously.
If someone's exhibiting
Jessica, it's a
psychosis
super. Yeah.
and they don't get help, and then they just live with their psychosis. They don't get help.
If they do-
Everyone's telling them
not
you should
getting
get
help-
help, and
not
they know
getting
they
help
should get
is
help,
a-
but they don't want to get help, and then they go out and they kill somebody, knowing that there was a potential, because people don't usually just go out and kill someone random. Usually, there's some kind of psychosis in the brain that's making them think, I want to kill this person. I want to kill this person. And then they don't, but then they have a psychotic break and then they go and kill that person. So they're responsible for having those thoughts and not getting help for those thoughts. I cannot even think of a time where someone just randomly shoots somebody and they were perfectly healthy.
Jessica, do you think there's a difference between
Hmm.
somebody knowing they have psychosis and actively not seeking treatment, and the idea of somebody having psychosis for the first time in their life and killing somebody? Is there a distinction to be made there in your mind?
I can't think of anybody that doesn't know
Oh
that they have
shit!
psychosis.
Okay,
and
hold on.
then
I was
goes and
literally
kills
just
people.
sent.
Are you
Hold on, Jessica. I was literally just sent this. Sleepwalking woman has sex with strangers. It looks like it has happened before, Jessica. This is not logically impossible. You're just fucking insane and can't answer a hypothetical.
Oh my god.
I know it's
Where's
really
that from? Where was that
frustrating.
said?
It's really fucking I can send it to you right here. It's like something that has happened before. Like I don't know why you're why are you like this? Just answer the fucking hypothetical. It's so easy. Well,
Okay,
well, you
let me
see,
see.
there isn't actually a trolley anywhere in the world with 5 people strapped down to one track and one person strapped down to the other. I don't know how you can expect me to answer this question for the sake of a debate. Come on, Jessica.
Make no physical intimacy until started having sex in their sleep. When she felt his touch, Grace would begin to dream that she was sleeping with someone else. Of course, once she woke up, she realized it must have been her boyfriend, but it was as if the need for closeness that went unaddressed in real life was being realized in their sleep. So she had sex with her partner and she was
So
asleep
people
and
can
then
have
woke
sex
up
with people in
midway.
their sleep, right? That can happen.
With someone that's right next to them, sure, with their partner. Okay.
Okay, let's say somebody brings them up. Say somebody takes them up and they put them in a bed with somebody who isn't their partner and they end up sleeping with them, right? There you go. We fulfilled the hypothetical. The hypothetical is right there, okay? Holy shit, Jessica. Just
Okay.
answer it now. You've been dodging this
Yeah.
question for so
Yeah.
fucking long. Just answer it. Would you say that person
If
took
they're
an active
sleeping, they're
effort to cheat on somebody? Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't want to be with someone who sleepwalks and sleeps with other people.
You think that they cheated on that person? That would be a fine statement to
Yeah,
make.
I would
Even though they
consider
had
that cheating.
no active cognitive ability to
Yes.
choose anything.
Yes, because I still think I also believe that if you're blackout drunk and you cheat on me, it's still cheating.
Jessica, there's a difference between choosing to get blackout drunk and having a disorder, right? Those are different things. Those are different things, right? And then you also have the ability to make cognitive thought when you're blackout drunk. Being blackout
Scott
drunk.
actually has from experience. Scott actually has a sleepwalking disorder. Okay, he's
Oh,
always
boy.
had a sleepwalking disorder. Okay,
That's
so
great.
if I say, hey Scott, maybe we should get help for your disorder, and he says no, I don't need
That's
help
different.
for it, and
That's-
then he goes and he sleeps with someone.
Yeah, because
No,
they made
this-
it.
in
No,
this
because they made it.
article, she knew she had it. In this article, she knew
That's
she
fine.
had this disorder.
That doesn't have anything to do with the argument, Jessica. That's different between making the active choice to not get treatment for disorder and the culpability of somebody who does not have a disorder or do not know that they have a disorder making an action, right? Those are two different things. One choice, one option they have the choice, and the other one they don't. You are completely dodging the question because you know it fucking destroys your argument. Nobody else would like with an actual functional brain would think that somebody who has no ability to choose in a scenario would be responsible for their actions.
Okay, so are you saying that a pedophile who sleeps with kids because he just can't help himself, he has no choice?
What do you mean they
Because he
just
has a
can't?
psychiatric disorder?
No, every single pedophile would know that they have an attraction to kids and would have the ability to get treatment. And if they were getting to the point where they knew that their attraction was getting to that extent, then obviously they would have
Are
the
you
choice
sure?
to get treatment.
There's never been a kid. Hypothetically, someone
Hypothetically,
who didn't know they were
if there was-
pedophile,
if there's-
and they just came across the child one day and they were like, "Oh my god, that kid is sexy," and then they raped that kid, but they didn't know that they had that attraction until just that moment. Are they not responsible?
If it was to the point, Jessica, where they had no ability to choose otherwise and they were basically a robot acting, there would be no moral character to judge there. But that is so far removed from reality to the point where our intuitions would be able to work in that situation. But obviously,
so now
it's the
we're not
idea.
doing hypotheticals?
Well-
So now we can't do hypotheticals?
Well, no, I just did your
What?
hypothetical. I
What are you
literally just
talking
did
about?
your.
How is that?
I
how is
just
that-
did your hypothetical. I just
Yeah,
answered it
so then
straight.
You're saying he's not, that the pedophile's not responsible for raping the kid because he didn't.
Yes,
he couldn't control
unlike you,
himself.
Jessica, I answered the hypothetical instead of going around about it for 10 minutes. Yes, I'm sorry. Like,
Okay.
guilty as charged,
No,
dude. I don't know.
I-
Fuck.
I think that guy's perfectly responsible for doing it.
You think that? Do you think that like let's say, Jessica, I would take your brain, I would implant a microchip that would force you to rape a child the second that you saw them, right? Would you say that you are morally responsible for that action?
Yes. Because
You're actually
you
insane. You're just
forcibly
fucking
placed it-
crazy.
You forcibly put that chip in my head. I knew the chip was in there, and I still went out.
Let's say
and
I did it in your
interacted with
sleep.
society.
Let's say I did it in your sleep, Jessica.
And
You didn't have the
forces,
ability.
like,
Yeah, there was
I
no
can't
action. There
control
was
it.
no choice. There was no choice in the situation. Were you responsible
still-
for it?
I'd still feel responsible for it.
Okay, so you're just insane. You're just fucking crazy. There's
I
no
just
situation
told
where
you otherwise.
anybody else would answer the hypothetical in the way that you just did, right? It's obviously the case the person who has moral culpability there is not the person who has no ability to make an action or no ability to choose, but the person who chose to do that individual thing.
Are you saying that person? So, like, are you saying that I wouldn't feel bad for doing it after the fact?
No, that's different from being
That's
morally
what I'm saying.
responsible. Well, that's a
I
different
said
question.
I
Stop. Answer
would
my
consider
question. Don't answer
myself
whatever.
responsible.
Well,
I
no, I'm
said-
asking. There's a difference between I feel guilty about something and I'm morally responsible for it, right? One is a logical thing that we are saying. The other one is just a way that we feel, right? I can feel bad for somebody and not say that they were morally wrong in the same way that I can feel responsible for something and not be actually responsible for it, logically speaking. I'm asking you about the logic behind the scenario. I'm not asking about how you feel. I don't give a fuck about how you feel.
Okay, so the logic. So then you're asking, would I be responsible for raping that kid even though I couldn't control it?
Yes. Let's say I implanted a microchip into your brain where the second you saw a kid, you had to rape them. Okay? You didn't know that microchip was in your brain. You had no ability to choose. You had no ability to have rational thought there. Are you morally responsible for raping that kid? Even though you had no choice. You had no choice in the matter whatsoever.
I still have to say yes.
Okay, you just
I would still have to say yes. Because if I would have to say yes, because anytime someone does something, if there's like even Kyle Rittenhouse, who had to defend himself, right? Everyone still agrees you shouldn't have gone there with a gun, right? Even though he had
You
to defend
shouldn't have
himself
gone
one
there
way or
with a
another.
gun. That was a
Okay,
choice,
right?
right? But there's a
That was a
difference
choice,
between
right?
saying that
But
choice.
even not choice, like even outside of that, even people who got the insanity plea, right? Not guilty by reason of insanity, right? They're not just sent off to the streets and
They're
been
not
like,
sent off
okay,
to the
make sure
streets
to.
because
They're not
they're mentally
released
ill. They're
to.
mentally ill and
But
highly likely of committing
they're
another crime.
also
That's why we don't release
many
them to the
times
streets. It's not because
not
they're
released
morally culpable.
until. But we also don't release them until we find out that they won't do it again. And then
Yeah,
even when we
they won't
release
do it
them,
again.
we keep an eye on them. We
Yes,
keep
you're
an
so
eye on
right
them
about
because we
that.
don't
We
trust them not to do
release
it.
them whenever they're cured of the thing, the disorder that would cause them to do that thing. We're not saying that they are morally responsible by doing that, right? Those are different statements. Saying that we should probably have somebody locked up because they're highly likely to commit a crime is not the same as saying that they are responsible morally for the action of committing that crime. Right? So somebody has no ability to choose. They can't be morally responsible for an action. That's very, very basic shit.
That's the thing. Like there's a difference between the hypothetical where you plant a chip in me that I physically cannot help myself, and a difference between a mom who just drowned her 2 kids because God told her to do it. And she couldn't help herself
If
because she
somebody
didn't
is
realize what she
so
was doing.
or
She thought her kids were monsters, and she thought her kids were after her real kids, and so she drowned her 2 kids thinking that they were
there's
demons.
a difference there. There's obviously a difference there between the ability to make a cognitive thought and the corruption of the ability to make a cognitive thought because you have the inability to perceive the things around you, right? If somebody is in such a psychotic state to the point where they have no ability to make an irrational decision, I don't think that we can say that that person made a bad decision, right? Because they had no ability to be able to make that choice.
But that's the thing, that's something that somebody else sitting with that person and that person answering those questions, whatever questions they asked, to determine whether or not they had the ability. So we're basing whether or not they had the ability to make the choice and whether or not they were cognitive of what they were doing on some other person who sat there and talked with them for hours and hours on a psych evaluation.
Yeah,
just like Gabby Hanna. Gabby Hanna had 2 psych evals and they said, you're good to go. But everyone else is like, no, you're not. So who's right? Is it the people that evaluated Gabby Hanna or is it the internet?
I would care about the medical professionals' opinions above the internet, Jessica. I don't know why that's a debate for you.
So
I don't know why
you
don't know who to trust
in a manic
there.
episode. So that means that Gabby Hanna is not in a manic episode, and she is fully responsible for what she's
Was she
doing.
not in a manic episode by the psych evaluation? If that was the case, then I would totally agree with the psychologist over the random fucks on Twitter. Okay? Maybe the problem is that you put too much value in the random fucks on Twitter's opinions. Maybe that's why you have these takes. So whenever it comes to...
No.
You just asked me. You just asked me
thought,
who we should. Hold on, Jessica. You just asked me who we should believe: random fucks on Twitter or medical professionals who have talked with Gabby Hanna.
I believe that Gabby Hanna is fully aware of what she's doing, and she's doing it for the same reason.
Then why would you ask me a stupid fucking question like that?
Because you're saying that.
No, I don't trust random fucks on Twitter to make a psychological analysis. I trust psychological professionals.
Okay. All right.
I never
so
said
it-
anything about random fucks on
Okay.
Twitter. I don't know why. Are you like?
No,
Are you here
'cause
for the
you're-
conversation?
you-
Are you having
you-
a manic episode? Do you know who's talking to you right now?
No, you probably misunderstood exactly what the fuck I said.
I think you
said,
misspoke. I
so
understood
if
exactly what you said.
Like, my exact question to you was, so you believe that someone, a psych eval, is the be all end all on whether or not someone's having a psychosis and whether or not they were cognitive, right? That's what you said.
I
You
think
said
that is
if
good.
they had a psych eval,
I think that
then
is
that's the be all end all.
So I
Go
think
ahead.
that is good reason to believe something is the case. Now, we'll never know something
Okay.
for 100% fact, right? We have evidence to believe certain claims over others. I am an epistemic agnostic. I don't think you have perfect knowledge of anything, or anything is a be-all, end-all.
Yes. But see, I take it a step further and I say, you know what? In some way, shape, or form, everyone is responsible for their actions.
That's great. Do you have
That's
a...
just my belief. In some way, shape,
So
or
what do you
form,
think we mean whenever we
even
say...
in the slightest bit, you are responsible
So
for what you
maybe
did.
let's try and reset the conversation, okay? Maybe we're missing something super fundamental philosophically. What do you think it
Yeah.
means whenever we say somebody's morally, like, bad? Like, they does something morally wrong?
Mm, when they do something morally wrong, when it's morally bad, I oh my god, you asked this question of the other people too, and I couldn't even answer it when I was listening to you because it's really it's a matter of I can only use an example. I'm sorry. Just mentally, I can only use an example. Everyone can agree raping someone is morally wrong. Right? So that's the it's not about oh everyone agrees, it's just a wrong. It's a societal thing. Everyone comes together and says this is wrong. It's society. Since back in the day,
If
raping someone
everybody
wasn't wrong. Nowadays,
If everybody
raping
came
someone
together
is
and
wrong.
said that slavery was good, like in the 1700s, would slavery be a good thing? Or do you
If
think slavery
everybody
would
came
still be
together,
bad?
if it became a moral right, then it would become a moral
You
right.
think it was
If
morally right for them to have
the thing
enslaved
is,
people at the time because
well, the
people agreed
problem
on
with
it?
that, the problem with that is the slaves don't agree. I'm talking about that the slave, there's a whole group of people that are now enslaved and they don't agree that this is morally right. However, I'm sure those slaves would agree that raping is morally wrong because they're not being raped, right? They're not, it's not segregating a group of people and saying your opinion on the matter doesn't count. It's just ours. So slavery would be morally wrong, even if the majority of people said it was morally right, because there's another majority, a minority of people
Well,
that say it's wrong.
well,
So when a minority and a majority of people come together
about the
and say
minority of
this is
people-
wrong, then that's where the moral comes from.
Well, what about the minority of people who think that rape is good and that children can consent?
There's a minority. There's a
Yeah, dude,
minority of people.
Yeah, there are people
There's
on
a-
Twitter who
there's-
think that. There are people who
Yeah,
have
but
any
they
kind of
don't-
opinion. You
But
can
it's
find
not a
somebody with any...
majority and a minority of people. It's one or the other. When you have a minority and a majority
What?
of people coming together and agreeing
Well,
on the same thing, then
Jessika,
that's where the morals happen.
Jessica, there is a
Yeah.
minority of people who agree that raping kids is good, and that you can fuck kids, okay?
There's a bigger
There's also
minority of people that think it's not.
Yeah, you can break people up into as many minorities as you want, right? There's probably a minority of people, like, I don't know, like, let's look at, you could break down people from, like, their white ethnicity to see, like, more people who would think that, like, slavery was fine as well there. What you're saying is completely incoherent. There's no basing in any of it, right? So even by your logic, it would still seem that slavery would be morally permissible back in the 1700s. Do you think, like, the moral matter has changed, that slavery has become, like, worse or bad over time?
No, I've said that no matter even back then, there was no moral okay for slavery because of the slaves. The slaves didn't think it was morally okay to enslave them. Let me ask you this. What your like morals? What do you think morals is?
Sure. I think that morality is a system of which we realize what we have impartial reason to do, right? So a motivating ought. What should we do impartially? So for me, I subscribe to act utilitarianism, the idea that the greatest good for the greatest amount of people, the maximization of what is called utility, that being preferable experiences and the minimization of suffering, that being non-preferable experiences, is what would be good. That's what we should do. Any action could be assessed through that framework, and we could see whether it is a morally good thing to do or a morally bad thing to do. So, the way that I would answer the question about slavery is I would say, okay, well, it seemed to be the case that there are a large amount of people who are slaves who are suffering greatly from this system, that the alleviation or the abolition of that system would be good because it would be reducing the non-pleasurable experiences, the non-favorable experiences for the slaves, and would be increasing overall well-being. That would be why it would be morally wrong to keep slaves. But your system seems to say that if a lot of people just agreed that slavery was good, that slavery would be good.
Wait. Oh my god. Okay. All right. No, I could see where what I said came to that, but what you just said was exactly what I just said.
What we just said were completely different things, Jessica. They were wildly different.
You're saying that when people come together and say this will help everybody, right?
Well, no, it's not when
Just
people
dumb it
come
down,
together.
dumb it down.
When people will come together and say this will help everybody. It's what will actually help everybody, right? So people can think, for example, that slavery is good. A lot of people can think that slavery is good, but slavery can also be wrong. They can be mistaken in the facts of the matter, right? People can think that slaves aren't people and that they don't deserve their preferences don't deserve consideration, but they do, right? And that's how we would come to our conclusions. It wouldn't be just whatever people think, Jessica. It's about the actual underlying reality of the matter.
Okay. So no, I agree with you that.
All right, sweet.
When it
So
comes
everything
down,
I
if it
just
helps
said.
everyone. So, but that's the thing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So you're talking about what's the moral, like where's your moral responsibility if you murder someone, if you're
Yeah.
and you're
So
not cognizant of it.
what I say
My
is,
belief is in some way, shape, or form, you did some way, shape, or form, you are responsible because in some way, shape, or form, that thought entered your brain and you didn't do shit about it and you let it go and you let it fester and you let it happen. So yes, I think that if
well,
you
it's not
don't
even
get
about.
treatment for your shit, even if and
So
right then and there, like right then and there, morally, you see a kid and you just now realize that you're attracted to that kid and you want to have sex with that kid. If you decide to do that like right then and there, I think that's wrong. Even if it's in a manic episode.
So the problem is you're presuming they have the ability to decide, right? So what I said is that we are assessing actions by any kind of morality, what we should and should not do. The problem is that we cannot have some statement of things that just will be and then morally assess them because there's no ability for them to be otherwise. We can't imagine a world where they are otherwise, or we can't morally condemn somebody for not doing otherwise when they didn't have the ability to do otherwise. So, for example, to call back to your statement, I gave you the example of somebody putting a microchip in somebody's brain that forced them to rape a kid, right? There is clearly a situation there where there's no decision to be made by the person who has the microchip in their brain. But you still said that they were morally condemnable. It doesn't seem to be the case to be morally condemnable because there was no action made. There's no action that we can assess there.
The action of them raping the kid.
That was not a decision, was it? They had no ability to do otherwise. They didn't act on that. It was just something that was forced. When I say action, I mean a decision, Jessica.
Okay, when you say action, you mean a decision. Okay. So you say so we're just gonna have to go to reality because the reality is in today's world, there is in no way, shape, or form a reason why you can't get help, a reason why you don't get help for shit that you're doing. Even like little Mr. Girls and Pine Girls little or whoever's Scrimsox's little argument that oh, pedophiles are afraid to get help. Yeah, but they know they have a problem.
So
They
do you
know
want
they
to
have
talk
a
about that
problem.
now, or do you want to talk about your original statements that you were making?
We can talk about my original statements, but I think that
I want to talk about the statement that
my
people are always
original
culpable
statement.
for their act, for whatever you call it,
Yes,
whatever. They're always
I
culpable for anything
feel
their
that
body does.
everyone is in some way, shape, or form culpable for everything that they do. And even in the littlest bit, I think that everyone is responsible because I think that everyone can take control. Like, I think that in some way, shape, or form, there is an instant where you can make a decision. And even in a manic state, I just do not believe that there is any situation where you can't make a decision. Even in, let's look at the moral good,
So
right?
the problem
Even in the
is
moral
I
good,
asked
you
you a
got
question.
someone
Okay.
that's about to attack your kid, right? And you have a gun pointed to them and they go for the kid. You have a split-second decision on whether or not to shoot them in the head or shoot them in the leg, right? You have a split-second decision on where to shoot them. I think cops who say, well, they came at me with a gun. Yeah, you have a decision on whether or not you want to shoot them fatally or shoot them non-fatally. And I think that if you shoot them fatally, you're responsible for them dying. Yes, we understand why you did it, but you did have a choice, and you had a choice on how to shoot, what to disarm them or to kill them, and you chose to kill them. And so you are, in some way, shape, or form, culpable and responsible for the death of that person. I think that in Gabby Hanna's situation, based on what she said she had 2 psych evals. I believe it because there were people on TikTok that said that they sent people to her house. There's proof of people going to her house, right? There's proof of an ambulance and a psych eval happening at her place of residence. And they sat there and they talked to her and they said she was fine. And she's not a danger to herself and she's not a danger to other people. And so, yes, I think that she is fully aware and fully responsible for her actions. I think that this is just another ploy, just like before, of her. She's about to drop something. She's always about to drop an album when this shit starts to happen. She goes quiet and then she starts making noise and doing things to get attention, and then she drops an album. All right. I think that I think, even, let's go worst case scenario. All right. I think that a girl who goes to a frat party, right, and doesn't take care of her friend and sees her friend going upstairs and into her room, drunk as fucking, laying down, and doesn't do anything or doesn't go check on her, and that friend gets raped, I feel that that friend is responsible for allowing her friend to do that. I think that the friend that was drunk was responsible for getting drunk. Why
No.
would you do that?
So no.
I think that there was, in some way, shape, or form, a little bit of responsibility for everybody making any action whatsoever.
The problem is you're making statements that everybody agrees with, and then you're making a huge fucking jump at the end, right? So I gave you a hypothetical where there is no ability to make any action or any decision whatsoever, right? You're given a
Your
chip in your brain.
hypothetical would destroy my argument. So yes, I don't want to talk about your hypothetical because I'm in my mind, I can't conceive of a notion of a time or a notion, even a hypothetical. All right. So maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's my tism that, I don't want to talk about, oh, Elon Musk implanted a chip inside of me that made me want to murder someone. And I had no choice but to murder them.
Well,
Like,
the thing is that the point of hypotheticals is that they isolate what we're talking about, okay? So instead of having to talk about a bunch of different things, so like we can talk about one specific thing. I can construct a scenario where
but
we're
that's
just talking about that one
such an
specific thing.
outrageous hypothetical.
It's not an outrageous
It's such an
hypothetical. It's a
outrageous.
hypothetical that gets to the point, right? We're talking about
No,
the
the
ability to make
point of
actions, the ability for your actions to be corrupted. So
Okay, then in
the
that case,
example would
you know
be
what? They are
there's no
responsible in
ability.
some way, shape, or form because they're responsible for putting themselves in a situation where they got knocked out and put to sleep and got a chip implanted in their brain.
So even if
Because they
every
didn't
other
just
person every other person should reasonably live their life without the fear of getting knocked out and a chip implanted into their brain. In fact, it would be worse for the world if everybody lived their life in a constant state of paranoia because there might be somebody else who could possibly put a chip implanted in their brain. We could, all of us would have to disperse from all of the outer society because there's a chance of somebody planting a chip in your brain. That would be morally wrong for them to live their life as everybody else is with the same information that would lead them to think that this action is the most conducive action to the best things happening in the world, and that person would be morally responsible because they ended up being the one person of the many who ended up having this one bad situation happen to them.
Well, people also don't go running at night in the middle of the night in a bad neighborhood because there's a potential of something happening. There
Yeah,
is
there's a
a
potential,
good.
and there's
There
no
is a
good. There's no good
good to
trade-off for
have
that, right?
the ability to prepare and to think about, like, you don't have to live your life paranoid, but it isn't completely stupid to think and be safe
Well, the
and
problem
just
is,
protect yourself
Jessica,
from
Jessica.
even the unavoidable. I wouldn't go walking at night in order to get kidnapped in a van so that someone can put me to sleep and put a chip inside of me.
No, nobody said anything about walking at night. I don't know why the fuck you added
No,
that in there. But
even if
also,
even that case, I would lock my doors so they couldn't come into my house and kidnap me and put the chip
everything you're
in me.
saying just avoids the hypothetical. Every single thing you're saying just avoids it. You're
I
trying to make
just
it
told you. I
a
just told
situation.
you. I just told you exactly why I still think that that person's responsible, even if they had a chip in their brain and they couldn't help it, because at some point in their life, they did something to put themselves in a
So the
situation
problem
where
is
they
that
could get that
everybody
brain, that
else
chip into
the
their
problem
brain.
is that everybody else would live their lives in this way, and it would be completely conducive to a productive society that would be morally best for everybody. But this one person, this one time, with no ability, they had no information that would indicate to them this would ever happen to them, right? Or there was any possibility of this happening to them, any realistic possibility. They get a microchip implanted in their brain. In your mind, they are fully culpable for the situation.
No, never did I ever say anybody is fully 100% culpable. I
Okay,
said in
they are
some way, shape,
culpable
or
for. I'm
form,
sorry, you can
even
nitpick the
in the
language. They are
littlest bit.
culpable for the situation.
You're saying nitpick the language, but you're basically changing my entire argument from in some way, shape, or form,
Well, no,
there's a
but you're
little bit
saying
of
that they had.
responsibility to they're
You're saying
fully
that they had
fucking
the choice.
responsible.
Yeah. So if somebody has responsibility, then they are fully responsible for that point of the thing, right? Like if I have responsibility for
No,
an
there
action,
are
I am
times where you can
responsible
have
for it.
partial responsibility. No, you
Okay.
can. So you've never
Sorry.
had partial responsibility for an action. So Emma, who wrote the doc for John Swan, was it partially responsible? She was fully responsible.
She was fully responsible for her part in the document. Yes.
But was she fully responsible for the document itself?
Well, no, she didn't make the action
No,
surrounding the
there's
document.
partial
Are you?
responsibility.
Yeah, but you'd be fully
Exactly.
responsible
So
for
there
your
is
part in it, right?
responsibility.
You'd be fully responsible for your part in it. This is like a really autistic thing to argue about, Jessica, but this is like super simple, right? You'd be fully responsible for your part in the situation. So they'd be fully responsible for the idea that they put themselves in a situation which in no other situation, no other occurrence would anybody ever expect this to happen, right? That they're like fully responsible for putting themselves in that situation.
How? Let me ask you this. So exactly how
I
did
want
this
you can
person
ask me something.
get
I want
them?
you to
No,
answer my
ask me.
question.
How did? Because I need to know. Because you're thinking, what, they just magically appeared on this person's operating table to get put to sleep? How did they get in that position?
I don't know, dude. Fuck. Like, let's say that somebody was like sleeping down at their bed one day. They lock all their doors, they lock all their shit. Somebody else like fucking removes their goddamn roof or some like wild ass shit, and they fucking implant the chip into the brain. Like, do you want the fucking backstory? Do you want like the entire life story of all
Like
these other people too
aliens
as well? Like, dude, I don't know
to
shit.
determine
Like no,
responsibility?
no
Yes.
other hypothetical does every single person want the backstory of like each of these individuals. Like we could go down. You could keep asking me questions. None of this is relevant to the actual point.
I think that everyone, point blank, I think that everyone has some form of responsibility for the actions that they do.
And point
Regardless of
blank,
the
there are
situation.
times when people do things that are not actions, which you still think they have responsibility for. Even if they would be good actions, with considering all of their knowledge, you still think they would be responsible, right? So for this idea, everybody would have to put themselves in the least risky like situation ever, even like irregardless of any of the benefits, which I know you don't believe. You're just taking the position for the sake of the argument, which I guess is fine. But I think nobody else believes the idea that just because there is a small risk of something bad happening, that no other people should ever like make this decision. Like that's fucking like schizophrenic shit. Oh, Diorio's hopping in and out of
I mean, I
the
guess you could
VCs.
call it. So should I leave so he can talk, because
I mean,
he
what?
won't
I don't
talk?
believe anyone here has ability to drag. So we have
Oh,
to leave.
there he
I can
joined.
leave.
Oh, what's up? What's up, Diorio?
How is everybody doing tonight?
I'm debating Jessica on the Twitter
like-
takes.
Usual.
Nick, I should also tell you that I am recording this debate.
Good. What stream are we on?
There's
no
no
stream.
stream.
I'm
It's
literally
just
just
recorded.
recording.
Oh, this is boring. I thought we were live.
I could go live.
This sucks. This is
Well, your
terrible.
Why don't
channel.
you
If
go
anybody
live?
goes live, why doesn't Bunk go live? Who's gonna watch Izzy Tan's channel?
Yeah, dude,
kill
the
yourself.
eight bunk viewers are gonna be stoked for the stream this.
I get it.
Thursday.
Listen, Nick. I get it. You have larger numbers than me. Okay, you're larger on Twitch. You're larger on YouTube. You're larger on the scale.
I'm
like
allowed to
there's so
bully
many
you.
things that you have. You have
Fuck,
more numbers
I
than
am-
me on. I
I am
get it. I
legally
understand.
Fuck, I'm legally allowed to bully you because when unprompted, I drag you into these massive fucking conversations for no reason to try to boost your little tiny channel. Fuck. I
Oh,
help
my
you.
little tiny. I wish I was as large as you in every way, but the way
Good.
that you're the largest.
Darn. Did you see Keffels has declared war?
On Kiwi Farms again, or like what?
She's retweeting people who claim to have flagged me off of Twitter, but I'm still here. And my account was never damaged in any capacity.
Damn, dude, you're about to get owned
She's
by
trying
the
she's
Keffel's
trying
army.
to get you off of Twitter.
Yeah, she's been like, yeah, actually, there's a lot of evidence of that, like directly. So I'm about to make a thread that's ban proof. And I swear to God, if she,
Oh my god!
if she attempts to
submitted a
use the
report for
copyright
abusive
system,
behavior.
yeah, if she attempts to use the copyright system, I'll take all that trans donation money and I'll give it to Destiny along with her house. So,
Oh my god.
it's fine with
Jessica, I have a
me.
question, by the way.
From what I know, when she got
So,
suspended for the first time, when she got
Fuck.
permanently
Hello?
suspended for those 3
Yo, what's up,
days,
Snaggle?
when she got a account back, she said it was gonna be the last time. So
She's a
if she
grifting
slipped
piece
up
of
now,
shit, yeah.
she's in deep shit.
To be honest, I really think it's like a false flag because nothing happened to me. My account was I was tweeting all night long. I was almost
Wait,
in
what's
Team
going on? I
You
just
weren't
Scorch
got
even
phase.
back.
locked out.
No. I found out someone's like, Nick, someone's
weren't
mass
locked?
flagging you. Never.
Jeez.
I
It
didn't have to
says-
delete a tweet.
Because it says like we locked. So this must be a fake fucking screenshot then, because it says violation found. We locked.
I don't know if it's
Nicholas
fake. Maybe
Dior's
it's a
account.
bug because I got DMCA'd today, but I got an email for that and it was from Dazen. And it's a copyright strike, so it's not a flag. And that was very specifically
Yeah.
saying they locked me for harassment, but they can't find an example of it.
All right, sick.
Yeah.
Are we done with the conversation, then, Jessica?
wait, I got one more thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What's
Yeah.
up?
So if
All
a
right,
woman
we
goes
stop
to a
calling
bar,
people brown and dirty. All right,
and,
it's wrong.
if a woman goes
Hey,
to a
you know
bar and
what?
gets drugged, is it
It
her fault
started
for
a
getting raped?
whole thing. So wait, what?
If a woman goes to a bar and gets drugged,
know.
is she
I'm waiting for all my
responsible for getting
tweets to
raped?
delete because I really want to like
Well,
make this
let
thread.
me answer it this way in the most PC way possible. When I go out to a bar, I keep an eye on my drink because I
So
don't want to
it
get
is her
drugged.
fault for getting raped.
Don't worry, you're not good looking enough to be
Yeah.
raped.
Oh my
Well, she.
God,
Look,
Izzy.
listen. I'm not saying
Nice
that. I'm not
Sargon
saying.
moment.
I'm not saying. Okay, I'm not saying that she deserved to be raped, but she has some responsibility for getting raped there. Okay.
I mean, she wasn't. Why was she not protecting her fucking drink?
So it's her
I
fault. for
mean, to
getting
be
raped.
fair, what was she wearing? You know, like that was a decision.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck, dude.
Like she shouldn't have even been
Honestly,
a woman in the first place. That's her
That's
first
shit.
mistake, you
It's
know?
really.
They didn't even
it's really
transition.
her
What are you
fault
on?
for going out.
Speaking
All
of
right,
trans,
sick. All right, fuck.
It is her fault for.
That was single-handedly the most autistic thing I've ever done.